You know what time it is. It's 9 to 5 with Gavin and Mike. In this episode, we'll talk about perhaps the single most important element needed to develop deep connections with anybody. But before we share what that is, drop the intro.
Konnichiwa. My name is Gavin Masumiya.
Nice to see ya.
I'm a mindset coach based out of West LA.
And I'm Mike Aheirwe.
You hear me?
I'm a Transformational Life Coach from London.
These recordings are short, sharp, sweet snippets of insight for anybody hustling a 9 to 5.
That's right, you can tune into them on your way to work, on your lunch break, or on your way home after a long day's hustle.
So, Mike, I know this is a topic that deeply resonates with you, as it really does with me. A lot of people give lip service to this as well. It's important to empathize and feel for other people. Why is it so important to you?
Well, I think intrinsically, I think deep down, empathy is important to everyone, right? And we should probably start this video off by giving a definition to what, at least I mean here when I say empathy. And what I mean by empathy is when we really understand how someone is feeling and what they need in a given moment, right? And it's very different from sympathy, where we kind of tell people what we feel they want to hear. For example, if someone said to me, "Oh, I lost my job," sympathy might sound like, "Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that," right? Whereas empathy would be trying to understand how they feel by trying to connect with that, right? And with empathy, one practice is to just kind of paraphrase what we've heard, but sensing how they feel and what they need or want from that given situation. And it's so powerful because the person communicating how they feel gets a sense that they've been understood, right? Gets a sense that they've been appreciated and valued as a human being from a very emotional core level. And it really builds connections. It's such a powerful tool, for want of a better word, for building really strong connections. So empathy, I think, is intrinsic in who we are as human beings. And I think the more people that consciously exercise empathy, the better our human connections will be.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will understand, empathy is super important. An interesting thing that you said is you gave a little quick distinction between sympathy and empathy. And so even the way that I look at sympathy is that sympathy is you're feeling for the other person and then you judge it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Judge it as, oh, like that was a bad thing. Oh, so I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that really happened. Whereas empathy is more about, it's not judging it. It's going into the person's experience, right? Into their shoes. It's like, how might they experience it, to come to this conclusion that if I were in their shoes, their thoughts, with their experiences, with everything that has culminated to this point, I would be behaving and acting exactly the same way that they would be.
Right.
And that's a different space than, I'm sorry to hear that.
Such a different space.
Yeah, totally different space. And so for people that want to really harness more empathy, right? Harness more empathy. What would you say is things that have been beneficial for your life in really harboring and fostering more empathy in your life?
So first of all, it's just gaining an awareness of what empathy is, right? I think that's the very first step. And, I'll be honest, for a long time, I still didn't kind of understand what empathy was. And I thought I did, but I thought empathy just means, just kind of being there with the person and just trying to understand how they feel. But I'll give a quick plug to Marshall Rosenberg. He's got this book here called Nonviolent Communication. And that talks a lot about empathy. And with that smile, I'm sensing that you recognize the book, right?
I've read that book, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic book. And I think reading books like that, or reading texts that talk about empathy, expand our awareness about what it means to give someone empathy. And then we can think about whether or not our communication is done in a way that we try to understand how the other person's feeling and what they need, and then we can bring some awareness to our conversations and see if we're actually doing that, and just listen to the results. And just to give you a quick example, I was on the phone to my friend like an hour ago, and she wasn't in a good space, and I just sat with her and I tried to understand what she was feeling and what she needed in that moment. And then as I did that, she opened up more and more and more, and she felt like she'd been heard, right? And she even communicated and said to me, you know, I feel like you're trustworthy because I feel like you enjoy listening to people and sitting with them. And it was so true. I really did, because it really does build connections. And in that moment, I felt like a space was created where there was a real natural and genuine connection. So it's so important for building relationships. But to answer your question, yes, you know, discover, learn, research, understand what empathy is, and bring some awareness in your conversations if you really want to be good at connecting with people on a deep level.
That's powerful, man. Like, and just to wrap it up, this is a short snippets for people from 5 to 7 minutes that we create right here. It's under a minute. And so just tying it up on the bow, like, what is the final message that you want to impart for people when it comes to empathy?
I would just say, maybe think about this. Think about a time when you've really tried to express yourself and the person whom you're speaking with just kind of like almost brushed it under the carpet and was like, oh, okay, cool, man. Well, hey, listen, are you watching the X Factor on TV, or are you watching Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent? And just think about how that made you feel. Think about, like, were you understood in that moment? And then think about how you make the person whom you speak with feel when you do the same thing. And just know that as human beings, we all desire we all desire connection. Mm-hmm. And a really good way of building that is with empathy.
Whoa, look at this. We got it on time, y'all.
We're getting good at this. Short, sharp, sweet snippets in 7 minutes.
Sharp, sweet snippets. Y'all like that alliteration, though.
Love it.
So with that being said, boom.
Guys, thank you so much for joining in. If you dig 9 to 5 with Gavin and Mike, be sure to like,
comment,
subscribe.
And wherever you are in the world right now, good morning,
good evening,
good night.